She walked into the upscale boutique, dressed in a plain cotton dress, her hair tied back in a simple bun, and no makeup on her face. The moment she stepped in, whispers started. A few customers glanced her way and smirked. The sales associate at the front didn't even bother to greet her. They assumed she didn't belong there. Too plain, too ordinary. Completely unfazed by the judgment floating around her. A group of women, draped in expensive labels from head to toe, made a point of laughing loud enough for her to hear. Maybe she got lost on her way to the thrift store, one of them sneered. The sales staff laughed quietly behind the counter. But the woman just kept walking, browsing the shelves with quiet interest, her focus steady, as if none of it touched her. Still, no one offered her help. No one asked if she needed assistance. Then, just as she reached for a limited edition designer handbag displayed behind glass, the room seemed to pause. She pulled out something unexpected, an exclusive VIP access card from a luxury fashion house, followed by a sleek black card that few even recognized. What happened next left everyone speechless, because that simple woman was about to prove that appearances don't always reflect reality, and her bag would say more than words ever could. The sales associate, who had ignored her just moments earlier, suddenly straightened up. She hesitated, unsure whether to approach or pretend nothing had happened, but it was too late. The sleek card had already caught the attention of the store manager. Quiet, the kind of silence that only happens when something unexpected shakes the room. All eyes were still on the woman in the simple dress, now seated concierge calmly asked to see the limited edition designer bag that had just launched, one so exclusive that even celebrities had been waitlisted. The associate behind the glass hesitated, looking to the manager for approval. He gave a small nod. As the bag was carefully placed in front of her, she examined it like someone who knew exactly what she was looking for, checking the stitching, the logo placement, and the feel of the leather. This wasn't her first time handling luxury items. Meanwhile, the same group of women who had laughed at her were now whispering again, but with a different tone. "Is that the black diamond Birkin? But how?" One of them murmured. "She doesn't look like she belongs here." The woman didn't look up. She simply pulled out her phone and showed the staff a personal message from the brand's creative director himself. Whatever story she carried, it was clear. This woman wasn't just a shopper. She was someone important, and no one saw it coming. The woman's calm presence continued to unsettle the boutique. The same staff who had dismissed her now hovered awkwardly nearby, unsure how to treat her. Some tried to act overly helpful, hoping she wouldn't remember their earlier attitude, but she wasn't paying them any attention. Her focus was on the details, the craftsmanship, the history behind the design, the kind of details only someone deeply familiar with high fashion would care about. It was clear now she wasn't just wealthy, she was connected. Meanwhile, across the room, one of the well-dressed women, Sophie, was growing increasingly restless. She had built her entire image on being the one with the most expensive bag, the best outfit, the highest status. Watching someone she had laughed at now hold an invitation-only item, one that even she couldn't get access to, was starting to sting. She began asking questions quietly, trying to find out who the woman was. None of the staff dared answer. The tension wasn't just about the bag anymore. It was about reputation. The social hierarchy in that room had shifted in an instant, and no one could figure out how or why. The woman's and the way she held that bag like she didn't need to prove anything to anyone. comfortably on one of the velvet chairs usually reserved for high-profile clients. She had requested a few more items to be brought out: rare handbags, exclusive perfumes, and even a custom piece that hadn't been released to the public. The staff scrambled, each move measured and careful, like they were suddenly afraid to get something wrong. Sophie, still reeling from the change in atmosphere, made her way closer, pretending to browse nearby shelves. Her friends followed, casting glances that were anything but subtle. One of them whispered, "She doesn't look like old money. Do you think she's new rich? Or maybe she just got lucky?" But Sophie wasn't satisfied with speculation. She needed answers. She needed to know how a woman who dressed so plainly could command such authority in a place built on status. Then, something unexpected happened. A man in an elegant suit entered the store, scanning the room until his eyes landed on the woman. He gave a respectful nod to the staff, but walked straight toward her. The store manager stood a little straighter. Sophie's eyes widened. This man wasn't just anyone. As the man in the tailored suit leaned in to whisper something in the woman's ear, the mood in the boutique shifted again, this time to full-blown curiosity mixed with unease. The staff paused mid-step. Even the other customers, now pretending to shop, angled their heads to catch even a fragment of the conversation. Whatever he said, it made the woman smile faintly, not with arrogance, but with the quiet confidence of someone who knew exactly how the day would end. Then came the twist no one saw coming. The man turned to the manager and spoke with a tone of authority. "Please close the store to the public. We're conducting a private acquisition today." Gasps followed. The staff exchanged glances, stunned. Sophie's expression faltered. What kind of acquisition required shutting down an entire high-end boutique? And more importantly, what did this woman have to do with it? Moments later, a luxury brand representative arrived, confirming that the boutique was being evaluated for a potential buyout. The name on the investor's file, it wasn't his. It was hers. The woman in the simple dress wasn't just wealthy, she was the mystery buyer, the one set to take over the store. Sophie's heart pounded. Everything made sense now, yet nothing did. The designer bag, the quiet confidence, the access to unreleased pieces, it had all been real. But instead of explaining herself, the woman remained silent. She simply glanced at Sophie, then returned to her seat, letting the truth settle unspoken and heavy in the air. The boutique fell into stunned silence. Sophie stood frozen, realizing she had not just judged a potential customer, she had insulted the new owner. Whispers spread among the staff as eyes darted from Sophie to the woman in the simple dress, who still hadn't raised her voice or said a word in defense. It was her silence, paired with undeniable authority, that made the moment feel heavier than anything shouted. Truly was now. Sophie's face turned bright red. Her confidence from earlier melted away into panic. She stammered an apology, but the woman didn't respond. Instead, she turned to the manager. "I'd like to meet with the staff next week. There will be some changes." Her voice remained composed, yet there was no mistaking the message. She didn't need to shout. She already had everyone's attention. But just as the situation seemed to close with Sophie's mistake fully exposed, the woman picked up her bag and looked over her shoulder with a small smile. "Oh, and Sophie, you'll want to check your inbox." And with that, she walked out, leaving everyone wondering what that meant. The moment the boutique door closed behind her, Sophie rushed to the staff room and opened her inbox, her hands trembling. There, at the top, was an email from corporate. Her heart dropped. It wasn't just a warning. It was a formal notice of reassignment. The woman in the simple dress wasn't just a designer. She was one of the board members of the luxury brand that supplied half their stock. And she'd been quietly evaluating the boutique's service during an unannounced visit. Word spread quickly. The staff who had stood by silently felt the weight of their inaction, while a few who had shown kindness earlier that day were invited to a private training program the woman personally gave one final statement to the company that would later trend on social media. Wealth isn't always worn. Sometimes it walks quietly. The clip went viral, sparking conversations about assumptions, appearances, and how people are treated in luxury spaces. Back in the boutique, things changed. New leadership, better training, and a culture rooted in respect reshaped the store's reputation. As for Elise, she continued her work behind the scenes, still carrying that same understated style, with the power to shift perspectives wherever she went. And that simple dress? It became a symbol, proof that real worth doesn't always shine the loudest, but it always speaks the clearest.